Picture this. In the quiet corridors of royal life, where every word is weighed like gold, William and Catherine step forward with a message that sounds polite on the surface, but lands like a quiet earthquake. They've laid out what's next for Camilla, not with fanfare, not with drama, but with the kind of measured clarity that makes the palace insiders sit up straight. And right away you feel it. This isn't just about one woman's future schedule or one title adjustment. This is about the ground shifting beneath the entire royal house. Because when the future king and his wife start defining roles so precisely, it tells you everything about who really holds the keys to what comes after Charles. The real issue here isn't some petty scheduling spat or a headline-grabbing feud. What makes this moment so revealing is how it peels back the layers on loyalty, legitimacy, and the cold mathematics of monarchy survival. William and Catherine aren't just speaking as son and daughter-in-law, they're speaking as the next chapter, and in doing so, they're quietly drawing a line between what the institution needs now and what it might need to let go of tomorrow. If you're new here or just catching up on the never-ending royal saga, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We go deep on these stories, so you don't have to scroll through the noise. Stick with me, because this one gets more layered the further we dig. Let's rewind just enough to feel the weight. Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Camilla, entered this family through a path that once seemed impossible. For decades, she was the outsider, the woman whose presence fractured the fairy tale. The public drama with Diana still echoes in memory for millions. Then time passed, Charles became king, and somehow Camilla stood beside him as consort. It was a remarkable rehabilitation, one built on quiet duty, shared interests, and Charles's unshakable support. She threw herself into causes, stayed composed through the scrutiny, and slowly the public temperature cooled. But monarchy isn't just about personal redemption, it's about symbolism. And symbols have to serve the future, not just the present. That's where William and Catherine enter the picture with fresh eyes. They've been building their own brand for years. Think of them as the steady modernizers. William, the dutiful heir who balances tradition with genuine compassion projects. Catherine, the protective mother and polished partner who understands image in the social media age better than almost anyone in the family. Together, they represent continuity with a softer edge. Their family unit, the Waleses, feels like the future the public can root for. So when they speak about what's next for Camilla, it carries a different kind of authority. Reports suggest the revelation centers on Camilla's role once William takes the throne. Details have trickled out carefully. Perhaps fewer high-profile joint engagements, a more focused set of patronages, or a graceful stepping back from certain symbolic duties that might naturally fall to the new Queen Catherine. Nothing harsh on paper, everything framed with respect. But in royal language, respect can be the sharpest blade, because this isn't random, it's strategic. It's the kind of move that whispers, the center is shifting. Here's the thing that makes this sting for some observers. Camilla has spent years proving her loyalty. She stood in the rain at ceremonies, endured the comparisons, and supported Charles through health challenges and public criticism. She represents the triumph of private love over public expectation. Yet in the unforgiving logic of succession, loyalty alone doesn't guarantee centrality. Bloodline, timing, and public appetite matter. Catherine, by contrast, entered as the chosen partner for the future king. Their marriage was celebrated as a fresh start. That contrast sits at the heart of this moment. Think about the emotional undercurrents. For Camilla, this could feel like the closing of a chapter she fought hard to open. For William, it's about protecting the institution he will one day lead. He's seen the cost of unresolved tensions. The slimmed-down monarchy idea didn't come from nowhere. Efficiency, relevance, public connection. Those are the watchwords now. Catherine has always been careful to honor the past while preparing for the spotlight that awaits her. Their joint statement or appearance, whatever form this revelation took, carries the quiet message that the monarchy must evolve without fracturing. But let's not pretend this is purely administrative. Family dynamics run deeper. Charles has always been the bridge, the man who loved Camilla enough to rewrite rules. His reign gave her a platform few thought possible. Now, as his health and the natural progression of time loom, the next generation is signaling their vision. William has long been portrayed as more reserved, more cautious about personal drama spilling into the institution. Catherine brings warmth and discipline to that equation. Together, they're crafting an image that feels secure, united, and forward-looking. That's where this gets interesting, because Camilla's position has always been a test case for the monarchy's flexibility. Can someone who wasn't born into the role truly embody it? The answer seemed to be yes under Charles, but under William, the signs point to a more contained role. Not erasure, certainly, but perhaps a graceful transition into elder stateswoman territory, patronages in areas she cares about, presence at key family events, but the daily grind of being front and center, that may quietly ease. Consider the broader context. The royal family has been through fire in recent years. Harry and Meghan's departure left scars and awkward silences. Andrew's troubles added fuel to Republican arguments. The public wants stability, competence, and a sense of purpose. William and Catherine know this. Their work on mental health, early childhood, environmental causes, it's all calibrated to show relevance. Bringing Camilla's future into clearer focus fits that pattern. It's housekeeping with symbolic weight. Yet you can't ignore the personal layer. Mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law in any family navigate tricky waters. In this family, the waters are magnified by cameras and centuries of precedent. Catherine has navigated her role with remarkable poise, from the early years of scrutiny to becoming the steady heartbeat of the Wales household. She understands the weight of the crown she will one day wear. Camilla, having worn it in her own way, must now adjust to the supporting cast position in the next act. That transition carries dignity, but also unmistakable finality. Let's pause and widen the lens. Monarchy has always been about hierarchy and symbolism. Who stands where on the balcony? Who takes which precedence? Who represents the institution to the world? These aren't small details. They signal legitimacy. Camilla's queenship was a bold statement of love conquering protocol. William and Catherine's clarification feels like a return to a more streamlined vision. Not a rejection of Charles's choices exactly, but an adaptation for a new era. The public reaction has been predictably split. Some see it as respectful planning. Others sense a subtle sidelining. Tabloids love to fan the flames, of course, painting it as tension or cold calculation. But the deeper truth lies in the institution's survival instinct. The crown must remain above personal stories. It must project unity even when private adjustments are happening behind closed doors. William, shaped by his parents' very public pain, seems determined to avoid repeating history. Catherine, ever the diplomat in heels, helps frame these shifts in the warmest possible light. And that's what made this revelation land harder than it looked. It wasn't shouted from palace steps. It emerged in that careful royal way, through sources, subtle statements, perhaps a joint appearance that said more in silence than words. The message: we honor the past, but we are preparing the future. Camilla has served with dedication. Now the focus turns to ensuring the monarchy stays connected, vital, and above all, sustainable. Digging deeper into the backstory, Camilla's journey is one of the most remarkable in modern royal history. From the early friendship with Charles, through the devastating fallout of the 1990s, the careful reintroduction in the 2000s, to the 2005 wedding that marked a turning point. She never sought the spotlight the way some expected. Instead, she cultivated a lower profile, supporting Charles's causes, championing literacy and animal welfare, and gradually winning over skeptics. When Queen Elizabeth passed, and Charles ascended, the elevation to queen consort felt both inevitable and still surprising. It was Charles's quiet victory. But victories in monarchy are temporary. The crown passes, and with it, the supporting roles shift. William has made no secret of wanting a smaller, more focused royal operation. Fewer working royals, clearer lines of duty, less room for peripheral drama. Catherine's influence here is significant. She's protective of their children's privacy while preparing them for public life. Their family image is one of grounded privilege, not endless court intrigue. In that world, Camilla's extensive portfolio might be streamlined to avoid overlap or dilution of the core message. This isn't cruelty, it's pragmatism dressed in protocol. The monarchy has slimmed down before. Look at how certain cousins and relatives have faded from the main narrative. Camilla, having reached the pinnacle, now faces the gentle pullback toward the edges. It's a pattern as old as the institution itself. The queen consort supports, enhances, but the future belongs to the next pair. That's where the emotional intelligence of William and Catherine shines through. They're not erasing history, they're contextualizing it. Respect for Camilla's service remains. Public warmth is maintained. But the center of gravity moves. The future Queen Catherine will step into her role with the full weight of expectation, unburdened by too many overlapping shadows. William, ever the cautious heir, ensures the transition feels orderly rather than chaotic. Let's talk symbolism for a moment, because that's the lifeblood of these stories. The crown represents continuity, but also adaptation. Camilla embodied adaptation through love and persistence. William and Catherine represent continuity through discipline and public service. Both matter. But in the succession timeline, one must yield space to the other. That yielding is happening now, in these carefully worded revelations. You can imagine the private conversations. Charles, perhaps wistful, advocating for his wife's continued prominence. William, balancing filial love with kingly responsibility. Catherine, offering the calm perspective that keeps things from tipping into resentment. These are human beings navigating roles that demand they rise above ordinary family friction. The public rarely sees the strain, only the polished result. Yet tension simmers beneath. The what happens next for Camilla touches on legacy questions. How will history remember her? As the great love who broke barriers, or as a transitional figure whose time at the top was always finite? For William, it's about legacy too. He wants to inherit a monarchy that feels modern enough to survive criticism, traditional enough to command respect. Catherine's partnership in that vision is crucial. Their coordinated messaging on Camilla's future reinforces that partnership. Refreshingly, this story also highlights the quiet power of women in the royal ecosystem. Catherine has mastered the art of presence without overexposure. Camilla mastered endurance. Their stories intersect at this pivotal moment, reminding us that behind every king stands a queen consort who shapes the tone, whether visibly or not. The revelation from William and Catherine doesn't diminish Camilla's contributions. It simply acknowledges the turning of the page. As we watch this unfold, it's worth reflecting on what the public wants from the royals. Glamour, yes. Duty, absolutely. But above all, a sense that the institution serves the people rather than itself. William and Catherine seem attuned to that. Their approach to Camilla's next chapter feels like part of a larger effort to tighten the ship, reduce vulnerabilities, and project quiet strength. Of course, nothing in royal life stays static. Camilla could surprise everyone with continued vigor and public affection. Charles's influence lingers. And external events, health, global attention, always reshape the narrative. But this moment feels like a marker, a line drawn in the sand of succession. The deeper meaning here is about legitimacy and belonging. Camilla earned her place through marriage and perseverance. Catherine's place was forged through choice and decades of preparation. Both valid, yet different. The monarchy, in its ancient wisdom, knows it must balance these threads. William's generation is choosing emphasis. They're prioritizing the direct line, the nuclear family image that resonates in a democratic age. That's why this revelation resonates so strongly. It's not just logistics, it's philosophy in action. What does the crown owe to personal history versus institutional needs? How much flexibility can tradition bear? These questions don't get answered in press releases. They unfold in subtle signals, joint appearances, and the slow drift of roles. Listeners, what do you make of this shift? Do you see it as respectful planning or something colder? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all, and we often explore the best ones in future videos. Your perspective helps shape how we unpack these stories. Zooming out further, consider the timeline. Charles's reign, though shorter than his mother's, has been one of consolidation and personal fulfillment. Camilla was central to that. William's reign, whenever it begins, will likely emphasize youth, family, and relevance. Catherine will be the defining consort of that era. The handoff requires clarity. That's what William and Catherine provided, not with drama, but with deliberate calm. Yet the human cost lingers in the imagination. Camilla, stepping back, even gracefully, means accepting limits on the role she once fully inhabited. It means watching the next generation claim the spotlight she helped stabilize. That takes enormous emotional intelligence and loyalty to the crown above self. If she handles it with her characteristic composure, it will only burnish her legacy further. Meanwhile, Catherine faces her own pressures. The expectations of queenship are immense. Public adoration mixed with microscopic scrutiny. She's prepared through years of duty, charity work, and motherhood. This moment, defining Camilla's boundaries, also clarifies her own path forward. It frees her to step into the role without ambiguity. The palace has always thrived on managed ambiguity, but the modern media age demands sharper lines. William understands this. His father's sometimes meandering style gave way to a more focused approach. Catherine's influence reinforces that. Together, they're authoring the next paragraph in the royal story. And here's the unresolved tension that keeps us watching. Will this shift create quiet resentment or genuine acceptance? Can the family maintain visible warmth while adjusting power dynamics? Monarchy has survived worse fractures, but each one tests the bonds. Public unity versus private reality. That old royal dance. In the end, this revelation from William and Catherine isn't the end of Camilla's story. Far from it. It's a pivot point. A recognition that service takes different forms at different stages. Camilla's earlier chapters were turbulent and transformative. The next ones may be quieter, more reflective, but no less meaningful. She leaves a mark on the institution, proof that love and duty can coexist even in the most rigid structures. For William and Catherine, it's about stewardship, protecting the crown's mystique while adapting it to a skeptical world. They carry the weight of expectation from their late grandmother, the example of service above self. Every decision, even about one woman's future role, carries echoes of that. The monarchy moves forward, not always smoothly, but relentlessly. This moment reminds us that behind the pageantry are real people making hard choices. Choices about respect, about legacy, about what the public needs to see and believe. As the dust settles on this latest chapter, one thing feels clear. The future is being shaped with care and calculation. Camilla's next phase will reflect the respect she's earned, even as the spotlight narrows. William and Catherine are setting the tone for what comes after. And in that tone, we hear both continuity and change, the eternal royal balancing act. The public will keep watching, as we always do, because in these personal royal moments, we glimpse something larger, an ancient institution trying to stay relevant in a modern world. The drama isn't manufactured. It's baked into the very idea of hereditary power wrapped in human frailty. What happens next for Camilla may look like a gentle fade, but it's really a strategic repositioning, one that honors the past while securing the future. And in that repositioning, we see the monarchy's quiet genius for survival. It adapts, it adjusts, it endures. Thanks for diving deep with me on this. If these layered royal breakdowns resonate with you, like, comment, and subscribe. We've got plenty more coming on the shifting sands of the House of Windsor. Until next time, keep watching the signals. They always reveal more than the headlines ever do.